I'm seriously hoping that you can hear me better now. Just a little technical glitch there. So with a bit of luck, I'm going to be able to be heard a bit better now. With a bit of luck, you'll all be able to hear me. You okay? Yeah? So yeah, with a bit of luck, sorry. With a bit of luck, you'll all be able to hear me a little bit better now. It's really interesting seeing the diversity of people's reactions and how they're looking at it. Like there is definitely some people reading it and absorbing it. But some people seem to be affected as soon as they're seen to be seen looking at it. That's when the alter, attitude comes out with some people, which is quite interesting. I find everyone's reaction interesting, whether it's a positive one or a negative one. But it definitely creates a conversation, irrespective from where I'm coming from. So, so brilliant. Okay, thank you so much for that, Tafa. I was coming through a little bit quiet before. Sorry, I was coming through a little bit quiet before. Just going to make sure that I've got the volume up on this. Okay. Okay. So, if the sound is on point now, I've got this little headset. So with a bit of luck, it's going to make life a little bit easier for me. Hi, Tommy. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I didn't mean to just stop that live stream there, but I thought, you know what, there's no point if I'm having interactions with people and you can't hear me. I spoke to someone who was really quite open-minded. Nope, he wasn't at the point where he thinks he lives on a spinning ball. However, he knew the moon landings were fake. That much he did know. That much he did know. And I find that really encouraging because I feel like that's people on their pursuit, right? If they know one or two things that they've been told are not real, then I feel that they're just going to carry on that path and maintain searching for the truth in whatever way they can. So I feel like that's encouraging to see things like that. And just so you know, I don't want to be intrusive and film people, or I don't know if they want to be filmed or not. There's Patricia, Harry's talking to that couple there, Jason's talking to that guy there. And I'm more or less just warming up again. I hope you guys managed to hear some of that interaction that I had with that guy. He couldn't stay for long. He was picking up his kids, but it was nice that he was able to interact. And as you guys know, we got sent these from David Gessner, so I managed to give him one of these so that he can go and check out Flat Earth 101 and go and take a look at everything on there. So that's what I gave him. One of these. Listening to Harry and Jason. Listen, multitasking is a thing. Having 2-3 windows open if you have to. Go for it. Do what you need to do. Richie B, Effie, hello my darling. Thank you for the cuddle. So yeah, got these cards, and I think I've got some Truth Pirates cards on me as well. For information for people. Put that in my pocket. I can get that out easily. And underneath my arm, I've got some leaflets as well for people that want them. So I'm now just going to meander around. I'm just going to give these people time to absorb it. That's the one thing I've got to tell myself to stop doing as well. I've got to not jump on it. Like I need to give people some time to even just absorb what those banners are saying. The people that do want to stop and read, like this set of people, what would you say? I know there's not many of you watching just now, but how long would you say is an ample time to leave someone reading the banner? Because I kind of look at them reading and I just want to jump in straight away and go, right, what do you think? What do you think? Some people don't want to hear it. Some people do want to hear it. And it's also having the time. It's also about having the time to speak. Say what is encouraging though. When people take pictures of it and share it on their social media. Yeah? Taking pictures and sharing it on their social media, whether they take it seriously or not, I think that's got to be a good idea. Yeah? Because I think sharing is caring. Sharing is making other people aware. All right. Okay. Can I ask you what you think of these banners? I'm filming the floor, not you. Just so you know, I wouldn't film.
It's actually filming the floor. To be honest, they're quite funny.
Huh?
They're quite funny from where I'm looking, but I was just looking at the arguments that are being put forward. Because like I say, the idea of, I'm assuming they're going for a flat earth, so they say not a spinning ball.
Yes, it's definitely not a spinning ball.
I'm not seeing what they are saying. We're trying to figure that one out.
Okay, so we're saying that, you know, as far as we can see, water can't conform to the exterior of a ball. From what we can see and what we're told, we can't seem to find any real images of satellites, rockets. You know, there doesn't seem to be much concrete evidence for the fact that we went to the moon. There doesn't seem to be a lot of concrete evidence for the fact that gravity's been proven. It's still a theory. The Antarctic Treaty, holding everyone out of beyond the 60th parallel without expressive military permission. You know, countries putting millions and millions and millions upon billions of pounds into space agencies, and what do we get for it? What do we actually get for it? In the bigger scheme of things. We've been going to space for decades, right? Decades. Britain alone gives the British Space Agency £1.16 million a day. A day. That's ridiculous.
I mean, that's one of those political numbers. It doesn't work out like that. That's been extrapolated from somewhere.
Well, what they had from the government last year, if you break that down, last year's was 1.16 million. Well, what that isn't is a sum that's been plucked out of the sky somewhere. That's in the general. What they're not doing is they're not declaring that money and not getting it. So my argument wouldn't be to argue about. The fact is they're getting a lot of money. Whether it's going to be 1.16 a day or not, when you look at the tax, the revenue, the VAT, everything else that goes with it, right? But the fact is they're getting a lot of money. NASA gets over 50 million a day. The European Space Agency gets over 3 million euros a day. And let's not even go with JAXA, okay? JAXA gets an obscene amount of money. And when I look at what these companies are doing and what they're giving us, like I was on BBC News this morning, I saw the CGI for these little things that are going to be bouncing over these little pod things where they're going to be landing on this comet and bouncing around the place. And this happened on the 3rd of October. And I went, wait, where's no real images again, CGI, great. We're in 2018.
We haven't actually launched.
Well, we're in 2018. You would think we'd have a 4K camera on the moon showing us the beautiful ball in which we live on. I mean, we have Big Brother where we watch people sleeping. So why not a 4K camera on the moon showing us where we live?
I think we have pictures of the moon.
No, why don't we have a stream from the moon showing us a moving image of the ball spinning in space?
Probably because parts of the Earth we're on, like internet, sufficient enough to do a long-term stream. Let alone trying to do that same long-term streaming from the moon.
All right. So how about this for a question? The space agencies have got the equipment. They've got 360 cameras. Yeah. They've got 4K imaging, 360 HD cameras. Yeah. Why do we not get a continuous, unedited, authentic stream from takeoff to beyond 50 kilometers?
Usually because of the extreme amount of force would probably damage the camera if you're trying to get a decent shot. Otherwise, it'd just be a shot from the inside.
No, because SpaceX is already using cameras. No. They've already used the 360 camera inside the ISS. Yeah? We've got the technology. They get enough money. I think we can safely agree, I think in layman's terms, for the amount of money they get, you would think we would have had some kind of continuous feed from ground zero to above 50 kilometers. I personally would like to know where that footage is, because I don't believe for a second they don't have it. But why they constantly give the public edited footage is beyond me. You can't just get some raw edited footage about the place. This is very fundamental though. This is where we live. This is where we live, and they give us CGI. It's been bits and pieces of footage, but it's edited. It's edited. Edited as in it's not the raw stream. We're not getting it from start to finish. We get a little bit of a stream when it takes off, and then it cuts. And then when we get that CGI rocket thing that goes on, where it shows as an intermittent booster stage lock-off, which is not real, that's CGI. And then they go back to that tail cam at the end, where they show us the booster, and we get to see a nice big red hot booster from. I mean, It's ridiculous,
Usually
you know.
the cameras that film it taking off are not the same ones that filmed it while it's in the sky.
And what I'm
most
saying
of the
is,
rockets
it
fall.
doesn't need to be like that. They have the technology to give us a continuous film footage from ground to above 50 kilometers. Where is it?
No, it does a bit, because the ones that are filming are attached to the outside of the spacecraft, which don't actually make it. That's why they come crashing back down.
I've got the notes written down on my phone. There's a company that asked for funding to do that, to do just that. They got over £1 million in crowdfunding, and the government wouldn't give them the go-ahead to do it. So that project is now 700 days behind, and we're no further forward to seeing that footage than we were, you know. I mean, we're no further forward to see Richard Branson do Virgin Galactic, are we? You know, and we hear that some billionaire is going to be going to the moon and back or wherever. Will that ever happen?
Do we have
you know?
footage of his car?
Don't bring up the Tesla. that whole, you can tell it's real. It looks so fake. You can tell it's real because it looks so fake.
So what looks fake? I'm curious.
That's his quote, not mine.
All right.
Elon Musk said that. You can tell it's real because it looks so fake. I find that a bit of an oxymoron.
It is an oxymoron, but what he's getting at is, because no one would bother to actually try and fake it. It looks something so ridiculous.
I think maybe that's how that quote's designed, so people like yourself think, oh, well, no one would fake it. Obviously, no one would fake it. To me, it blatantly looks fake. It blatantly looks fake. Let me ask you another question. Throughout your life, has there been anything that you've questioned, that you've been taught? Has anything ever stuck out where you've gone, not sure I agree with that?
Yeah, actually. I'm working on it now.
Yeah.
I'm very good to see the evidence because I am a physics student. There's a complete opposite scale of this. Is obviously astrological scale. I'm on a particle scale. So like the current particle model with all those are fundamental particles. And actually, as evidence suggesting, there's a layer deeper than that. So I'm working on trying to design the model of the next layer down from where we stopped and said, no, this is it.
Right.
But then again, it's something that's happening all the time with science. It started with atoms being just a solid ball, and then that got broken down to proton, neutron, electrons, and protons and neutrons are broken down. It's a step-by-step process. So this case of this is the accepted knowledge, but then we learn a bit more. Yeah,
and I feel like that's what happens throughout history. We haven't accepted knowledge until someone proves it wrong. And what we have at the moment is we have learned people that have got more letters after their names than their actual names themselves, going out and making observations and doing repeatable tests that are observable, repeatable tests, distance tests. The Pythagorean theorem, that's like the biggest smoking gun of all. It's like the education system gave us that to work off of, and then we've proved it's absolute bollocks. So how do they get out of that one and stay fashionable? Do they go, oh, actually, we were just wrong about that bit, and let's just rework all of those formulas and everything because we were kind of wrong and we miscalculated the Earth's curve. It's actually not that, it's something else. That's not going to wash. That's not really going to wash.
That's the most accurate measurement at the time.
And unfortunately, it's been blown out of the water. Completely blown out of the water. People have used infrared cameras, P900, P1000, and they have seen way further from sea level, distance-wise, not a mirage. Once you use an infrared, you take away all of that crap away, and you see clear images. There's actually a guy down in Worthing, Dr. John D. He's got his credentials all online. He's completely open about who he is. He's a physicist. He's also 3 or 4 other different things as well, things that I can't pronounce. You know what? I can't pronounce it. But he is making observations. He made an observation from the Brighton I-360 to somewhere else. He repeated it. He's done it. I think he's done it over 42 miles at sea level over water.
So in this case of from sea level looking at and being like,
that's just one example, So what I'm saying is we've now got an influx of learned people. If I can call them learned people, or what would you, accredited people? What? Accredited, So for me, I
was just going to say, I can understand. I know what's happening with the infrared one. But obviously, it's with the spectrum. So the best thing to go through is the rainbow. Different wavelengths of photons bend slightly differently when applied to the same forces. So obviously with rainbow, red bends to these, purple bends to that's why they're arranged the order they are. Infrared is the one above red, so that would take even further before it bends significantly, which is why that camera was
That's right, yeah. So some of these haven't been taken from ground level, and some of them have. Yeah, this one here shows you how high above sea level it is. So they've even included altitude above sea level, yeah? Now, with the altitude taken into account, 3 miles of the Gaspard Mountain should be hidden, okay? Or even just Calais to Dover, 300 feet of that should be missing, according to that. So we've done these according, but these are just our casual ones. People with learned credentials have done these officially. Is it metadata? Is it metadata or whatever it is? You have to record it to make it official.
Yeah.
These are not official pictures. You can see they're not official. However, there are people now making observations, and not just distance observations, various other observations that are kind of making me think, okay, well, you know what? I might not know where we live, but I've now got a funny feeling it's, you know, even when you look at the books, the textbooks at school, the planets that they show kids in the textbooks, that's not how they look when you look at them for real. Okay, that doesn't mean that's a hoax. I'm not saying, but to illustrate them in a way that is so far different from what they see in reality, I think it's incredibly unfair.
So what is that difference? Because I say I know the Earth isn't as it falls, the oblate
Well,
spheroid.
please. Well, if it is an oblate spheroid, why does it look like a ball from the ISS? Have they just photoshopped it to make it look like a perfect ball?
No, it's very
or what about the picture? What about the picture where you could see the moon and the Earth going behind it? Why did that look like a ball if it was supposed to be a spheroid?
Yeah, well,
oblate spheroid. It's very close.
It is close. I mean, that shape is basically, you know, like really cheap football. If you got one of those and just put hand either side, just squeeze slightly, that's the shape it actually is. But, so a ball is a very close approximation. It's only a small amount as well, which is why far enough away it would appear like a perfect.
And would you agree that, yep, there's a lot of people that don't want to talk about this subject, but don't you agree that if we were for real living on a ball, yeah, we wouldn't even get away with doing this. We wouldn't even be doing this. If we were actually on a ball, we wouldn't have been able to look into anything and then go, there's an element of doubt there.
Okay, I was interested in actually seeing now what information they did find. So you're saying like there are researchers done. I'm interested to see what their evidence actually is. I mean, there is evidence for it being a ball. I mean, you were saying about the water not being able to get out of space. So one in the ISS, where we are out of Earth's gravitational pull affecting our models, they do have it. They open a bottle of water, they just pour it out, and they leave it to float under its own devices, and it does form spheres. And also, high-speed cameras.
I've heard that before. I have heard that before.
Okay.
But however, water will always find to seek and maintain its own level. Yeah. Just because when the water gets to a little bit like that, it forms a sphere. That doesn't explain what's going on with the ocean. That doesn't explain what's going on with everything else. So I do appreciate where you're coming from. When we reduce things down to the ants perspective, everything is different from the ants perspective. We're not living in the ants perspective. But at the same
perspective compared to the entire world.
Yes, I know, but for me it seems far more lunacy to think that water conforms to the exterior of a ball through a magical thing called gravity. I can no more prove gravity to you than I can prove God. Nothing more easier than I can prove God. It's a belief. For me to explain how water conforms to the exterior of a ball, I have to use a belief system. I have to use a belief system. There's no getting away from it. No matter how much I want to academically understand the subject, there still has to be an element of belief to what you're saying because it can't be proved. Various people throughout the decades have since 16-something, when Sir Isaac Newton put out the Principia Mathematica, we've been looking for proof ever since. We're now hundreds of years later, and it's still being taught as a theory in school. My daughter's doing triple science. She's doing physics, chemistry, and biology, and she's being taught gravity as a theory. In 2018.
We call it all a theory.
Sorry, darling. Pardon?
I was going to say, in science, we call something a theory just because there's no work being done on it.
Since 1646. I think it's 16...
So we're still trying to understand.
Sorry, 1687.
Yeah.
Since 1687, we're still doing work on it. That's insane. One of the biggest principles that helps to describe the fact that we live on a ball, the deal clincher was gravity.
Yeah.
The Principia Mathematica was written, put out there to the public, and then that was it. That was the deal closed. Here we have gravity, so that's how we can get away with telling you you live on a ball. Without gravity, the story doesn't stick. Yeah, but if I took gravity away, how else would you describe us living on a ball without gravity? Would you have to go back to buoyancy and density? Because that's what they used before gravity came along, and it explained everything. And it still does. Even with the different layers of the atmosphere, the higher you go up within the enclosed system, the lighter it is, yeah? That's why birds can't fly up there, because they can't go fast enough to keep themselves airborne, because the air's lighter, yeah? Then we get to water, lighter, thinner. I'm maybe not using the right terminology. Then we get to water, yeah? Much more dense, yeah? Right? Then we get underwater. The heavier the water gets, the more dense it is. Then we've got underwater lakes that are even more dense, yeah? So for me, from right up there to right down there, buoyancy, the only thing that's keeping us on this ground right now is that I'm more dense than the air around me, not gravity.
No, but the reason is because the pull of gravity on you is stronger.
But that's what I'm saying. When I was ready to let go of that, I realised that I'm in the most highest enclosed system, whatever it is. So there is no gravity. Obviously, we're in like a massive greenhouse. I don't think black holes exist.
We've got pictures.
Wait, careful. We don't have proof. We don't have proof. We've got people theorising and hypothesising about it. We don't have proof of black holes.
We have observed what's inside them because we can't get any observations back.
Do you hear how lunacy that sounds? It does sound ludicrous. Do you know that we've got something millions and billions of light years away that I can't tangibly prove to you? It's second-hand information, yeah? But just believe it because it's there. It'll never affect us. I'm being generic. I'm not actually being specific.
We can see those stars.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And you can see the black hole. Can you? You can see how it distorts the space around it. That's how you look for it. You don't look for it. You look for
the light on the edge of where it's
right. So what people have done is they've called something a black hole to explain something they don't understand. That's what's happened there. From my layman's terms, someone has sat down and thought long enough to go, there's an explanation for that makes sense. We'll go with that. That's where I'm coming from.
Everything around it disappears.
That's where I'm coming from.
Also the fact that we've seen the galaxies, they're all swirling around something, pulling them in towards the middle. Something that can even pull the water. So yeah, it's not.
And have we seen any stars hit the sun and get exploded by the sun for real?
If a star came anywhere near enough to touch our sun, we wouldn't be around to
and
see it, I'm afraid.
Don't we find that funny how that's just never happened? And how we reckon that we've been taken out by meteors and comets in the past, but it's never happened. And then the dinosaurs that don't exist in museums. Yeah, museums don't have real dinosaur bones in there.
What do you call the T-Rex?
They have replicas in the actual museum. If you go to Science Museum, Natural History Museum, they're not the dinosaurs. And if you speak to any of them, they'll tell you that. No, we don't put them out here, God forbid.
Well, I mean,
so you're looking at...
Someone vandalized the pyramids in Egypt, so I could understand the reason. I can. I just think the public should, in general, question a lot more about what they've been taught. I mean, we're all shown the globe at 4 years old. We're all told to spin it. We're all not told to look at Antarctica. We're told to focus on the equator. Never mind about the bit that's underneath and the metal bit that's going underneath there. We'll talk about that another year. Covering it, but...
That's what I'm saying. There's normally some metal bolts covering it. So when you're shown it in a classroom,
you can see the edge of it.
that bit's insignificant. Above and below the 60th parallels either line, that's insignificant. We don't need to teach you about that. We just teach you.
It's mostly a large lump of ice either end, so
or beyond the southern 60th parallel, probably a big wall of ice holding all the water in. That would make more sense because water always needs to be contained, doesn't it? What happens to water when you don't contain it? Honestly, you tell me.
Depends. What do you mean by not containing?
No, I mean just the simplest question. What happens to water when you don't contain it?
You mean if I had, say, a bowl in front of me, I poured water on top?
Which is why I'm saying it's a belief system. Because if I pour water over a football, the water's not going to... But because of this whole belief system of the gravity and the mechanics and the gravity, as I like to call it, the gravity...
The big ball we're on.
The big belief of gravity is why water conforms to the exterior of the ball. So like I said, without gravity... There is no discussion
outside
about
the
it.
atmosphere, once our Earth's gravity stops interfering with your experiment, or again, the droplets, not necessarily small ones, you do with much larger ones, you drop it from high enough for the air resistance to balance out that gravity.
For me though, you still need to contain water. That water's going to fall, and then unless it's contained, it's going to roll off and go into the drain. Unless it's
The ground we're
contained.
on is pulling it down that way.
That's one way of looking at it.
That's why if you have a bowl, it will sit in
I tell you what though, I wish every interaction could be like this. When someone's not, well, I like having a healthy discussion, going back and forth. And this has been really refreshing so far, because normally people go, "You're fucking crazy," and you're coming up with valid questions, and it feels like a healthy discussion.
So like I say, I've obviously got my like some nice science work and so on, so that's why I want my sister.
She's a sweetie.
That's why I said, well, my first question is wondering what your starting point is. Now you brought up the ice world. Well, I know it is the flat Earth model. So,
Oh no. For me, I'm only talking about an ice wall would make sense to be contained. I don't subscribe to any model.
Right.
That's the one thing I do not do. If you take anything away from this conversation, is that Roxanne does not subscribe to a model. What Roxanne doesn't think is that she's living on a ball anymore. Roxanne's not quite sure about what's going on. For all Roxanne knows, they could be hiding further lands. I don't think there's an edge. It annoys me when people say, well, if it was a flat Earth, all the cats would have pushed everything off by now.
That's a bit silly, but then there would be an edge, and then the question would be...
Why would there be an edge? Why couldn't it be an infinite land like infinite space?
Because if we keep going in one
That's
direction...
no more ludicrous than infinite space, though. You understand where I'm coming from on an unbiased thing. For me to say infinite land is no more ludicrous than saying infinite space. Because space is expanding into what? And then that's another long story altogether. So, in that sense, I'm like, to agree to disagree, I'm happy to say both of those explanations are just as ludicrous as each other.
There being an edge of the universe is something I'm interested in, because again, it's one of the things where someone dumbed it down and everyone just said, oh, so it's infinite. So it's a case of we sent things out and we're still waiting for them to bounce back.
Right. And I think all the conjecture around the 60th parallel, Admiral Byrd, all of the madnesses that have happened down in Antarctica, I do believe the reason they need to make sure that no one goes down there, and they've monetized the whole thing in making, I mean, the 60th parallel, I mean, just the other month or the other year, some guy went past the 60th parallel in his own boat because he wanted to go and see, and he got mullered, he got arrested by the military just for taking himself across that 60th parallel. So like I said, it's almost like we are in some kind of open prison. We're not free to go wherever we want for a start, which is horrible. As human beings, we should be able to go wherever we want within reason, yeah? And so if I choose to make a pilgrimage to Antarctica because I want to circumnavigate it or I want to go across it, I don't want to be taken on a predetermined route. I want to go where I want to go. Now, when I look at it like that, why has no one done this? Why has no one gone, whee, and back up? They've only done that, and that. They've not gone round and back up. I did speak to an Antarctic explorer called Ben a couple of months ago on my live, and he confirmed that. He went, all right, yeah, you're right. We've only gone down, along, and up.
I was going to say, though, is that due, when they've gone due south, due west, due north, so they've gone at right angles each time? So say they've gone from as far north as possible. They've got down to, per se, Antarctica. They've gone due west, and then they've come back up north again. But it's not a circumnavigation, if you understand where I'm coming from, like they've done around the equator. So my question is, why have we gone around the equator a million times and no one can do this? Just once. Just once. Give me it once. And give me it fully documented. And why the flight path? No one flies in the southern hemisphere from point A to point B in a straight line. So there's no flight from the southern tip of South Africa to the southern tip of South America that stays in the southern hemisphere. They all pass through. Instead of it flying like that, the flight goes like that. And it goes like that. So they say the fastest point from A to B is a straight line. And on a globe, the planes arc all the time. On a globe, doesn't make any sense. Why they've done a curve like that, because you've got the wind currents around the Earth. So they're probably trying to take advantage of the one that's blowing in the direction.
Possibly.
So on our level, obviously, like the wind can change direction.
Yeah, possibly.
On a large scale, there is a sort of different, what's it called? Transatlantic drift? sort of pulling water, bringing hot water. That's following the same current. Again, that tells us that it goes north, then it loops back down. The idea is they're basically catching that wind, trying to save fuel on the plane to make the journey faster. So it's one of those cases where the actual wind either pushing or pulling you can actually.
That's a valid point, but for me, the fact that they don't track flights in the southern hemisphere, that's dodgy. Why do they not track flights in the southern hemisphere? That is very weird. As soon as they get to about just beyond the equator, they don't track in this part here. And like I said, no one's even beyond the 60th parallel.
When you say about the southern hemisphere, you're talking about the large bodies of ocean, right?
At the I haven't got a book. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this bit here.
Yeah.
This bit here, yeah?
Okay, that could be just a case of monitoring problems, because obviously you hear things like when a plane goes down and they're having to like take the nearest signal that could pick it up on land.
Well, what about that flight that had to emergency land in Alaska? On a globe, that didn't make any sense, but on a flat plane of existence, that emergency landing made sense. I can't show you it right here, but the flight was going from... I haven't got it to hand. No, do you know what? I need more representation, for crying out loud. But yeah, I just think there's a few questions that can't easily be answered, and that's why I feel like it's worth having a conversation. Because I feel like both people can come out of the conversation maybe looking at things they weren't looking at before.
Okay, I just realised this is during that well, this is the temperature current, so the wind currents are what carrying the temperature current. So okay, so these ones around here will head north, and in the sort of green band, they're the ones that will head towards. Head back down. Come on, environmental physics, don't tell me now. Trying to remember the lessons, it was a boring lecture.
I hear that.
But there are like these bands, like the green one, the yellow one, and then there's two in the red, where the wind, again, on our scale, down up near the ground, because it gets caught on different things, doesn't quite follow the same pattern, but once you get higher above, the wind currents are pretty much fixed throughout the year.
Right.
Sorry, this is again, that picture does sort of show it a bit
Yeah,
better.
but even still, that still doesn't explain to me why they don't track flights in the southern hemisphere. Seems pretty silly.
They actually need like stations and people that would actually be able to do it. So that's what I'm saying, like this large body of ocean here, where could you mount something that could...
Well, that's why I said it would make sense that the space agencies spend a lot of money to govern outer space. Maybe outer space isn't there.
So is in the part of the globe where there's nothing but water, but again...
Well, I'm looking at Trump saying how much more he's looking to spend on Space Force. And I think, what is Space Force? And then I look at the 60th parallel and I think, don't want anyone going out there, do you? So maybe a few more bucks to sort out this body of water here.
The Space Force, that's a case of...
It's like something out of a movie.
Well, it is, but again, it's just heading that way. Well, like you say, we're going into space more regularly, and it's a case of
low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit, not outer space. I mean, less than 30 people have been to outer space. Let's call a spade there. So, since 1969, less than 30 people have been to outer space. In the bigger scheme of things, you know, I mean, unless we're talking about, well, if it's legit in the first place.
How many people was on that? Apollo 12 was the one that unfortunately didn't make it back.
Well, I've got my own theory about that, and I might offend some people, but you can look those people up on the internet, and one of them had a twin brother that's working in a university, and another lady that's got the same name and looks exactly like the lady with the curly brown hair. She's a lecturer in an American university by the same name. So these people have got doppelgangers with the same name, and they're still living. So
if you were trying to hide yourself, you'd probably change the name, surely.
Well, you know, shoplifters, what do they do nowadays? They don't stick it under their jacket, they just walk out bold as brass because it looks less obvious than sticking it under your jacket. So, you know, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in movies, and you only have to take those with a pinch of salt to think, well, you know, you looked at the Salisbury attack, okay? I had a double spy that lives near me in New Malden. We drove past, saw big blue tents outside, and 2 miles away from my house, a double agent got killed in his house. It was all on the news and everything. It was a Russian spy or something that got killed in his house. When you start seeing things like that on the news, you realise the Mission Impossible Tom Cruise thing isn't too far off. You know, national security, all of that stuff. That's very real. I understand that. But at the same time, when you take things like that with a pinch of salt, and then you look at the space agencies, we can't start going on like they're holier than thou and they've never told a lie or a porky in their life. I think, you know, a lot of people are walking around. Oh, 1 second, my darling. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for bringing her. You're an absolute angel. Big time. Mwah. Take care, gorgeous girl. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not going to buy everything the space agencies say. They get far too much money for me to buy everything that they say, and they don't do enough for it. They don't, as far as I'm concerned, you know. And maybe this isn't just such a flat earth conversation that I'm having. I just think when you look at the bigger picture, we've got something that's fundamentally wrong. We don't have kids getting taught about their natural world anymore. Okay, we're coming away from the natural world and we're going into somewhat of an augmented reality world. We're starting to lose touch with who we are as people. The community spirit is gone, right? What we used to have on our roads, where neighbours used to look out for each other, you know, yeah, things like that. And when I look at what my daughter's getting taught at school, I'm like, we only get one life to live, for crying out loud. Are we really going to do all this at school? Teach her to do this. My daughter's in the top 3%. I've got no problems. She's doing her GCSEs. She's got full intentions to go and be a barrister. She's just as dubious about what she's been taught as well. However, she's able to navigate it with fully open eyes. So it doesn't mean that she's not learning because she doesn't think it's legit. You know, it's almost like PlayStation. You know, if you get enough XP points, you're going to go through to the next stage and you're going to be successful. So to look at school any differently, I think would be stupid. To take this home, what you learn at school, and harbour it like it's your religion, I think is very wrong.
Well, in the case of at school, fortunately I was a teacher for a year, and only a year. In the case of at school, you are told what to teach them. And the idea is they pick up what they're interested in, like you said, so they've got an idea what to do. It's then meant to be when they go to university, that's when you do start questioning. That's when you're told explicitly, like in physics, for example. Not explicitly, some of the things you were told this scientist found that were true, still a bit false. So again, stuff like that. Something as simple as...
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose science books get outdated, right? The science books that we had at school 25 years ago, they're not going to be the same science books now. Yeah. And in 20 years, 5 years sometime from now, there's probably going to be some new information in those books that wasn't here then.
Yeah.
And that much I do think is good. And I think the more that we can reiterate that to the next generation, question things, ask questions, have healthy debates. But what I don't want to see is people just being brainwashed, and brainwashed to only believe. And it is a belief. It's a believe in one thing.
I won't go that far when it comes to science and the round-ish
Yeah.
So I was going to say, yeah, wood would be a ball if gravity was the only force that play shape. Much like a ball of clay, you put a force to it, it will change shape based on the force. That's why it forms that slightly flat at the edge, slightly wider at the middle ball. And again, you can see those forces at our level. I guess now I'm pulling the conversation back to the topic of
That's all right.
Actually, before I go back to that, I should probably say about the space agency. I do feel it's a case of we're not getting back anywhere near what we give them. But there is something people don't quite appreciate with them. When they come up with a solution to a problem that's become an everyday thing, no one knows it came from something like that. So,
yeah. Sorry, sweetie.
So one of them, someone is Velcro.
Right.
They needed a way to hold things where you don't have
so by default,
holding things down.
By
so
default,
and now it became something that's so complex. You never think, actually, NASA invented that. They needed that. And again, these things like the way of bouncing and landing a rover onto a meteor, that can then be applied to something like an aircraft of making a safer crash landing.
That bit, I'm going to have to agree to disagree with on you. Crash landing on a meteor, unless someone can show me real footage of that's not CGI, I don't know what they're learning from that. That's second-hand information.
Crash, the camera tends to have got damage on the impact. But we have things that have landed. So things like the Mars rover, you can see a live stream of that on Mars today. So isn't that not what we're looking for? Live stream of it on...
I'm not buying into the images that are being shown and where they're being shown from. I've looked at images that are from that rover and they look uncannily similar to images that have been taken on Earth. So, in desolate areas, Devon Island to be one. There was quite a...
Like I say, it probably would. But think about it. Most of the elements that make up our planet are some of the most common in the Earth. I mean,
I understood. Yeah.
So when you've got the same chemicals coming together to form, again, another similar shape form.
I'm just... Yeah, I hear that. But, even I'm not going to buy it just from footage alone. Because as far as I'm concerned, footage can be manipulated. Yeah, it would be extremely difficult. It would be extremely difficult to manipulate a non-fixed 360 camera from ground to above 50 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And maybe the day I see that, if it can prove it's a ball, then I might eat my hand. But I have a funny feeling the reason we haven't been shown that footage is because it will prove. That's why we're not flying over 44,000 feet. We all know this. That's the reason we won't ever fly over 44,000 feet again, ever. It caused too much conviction. That's what started the conspiracies in the first place, flying it that high. You only have to look into history why things were declassed, taken out of the loop. We don't fly Concorde anymore. They had to propaganda that. They shot themselves in the foot with that, yeah, to bring that out of line because of the height it goes at, yeah. There's so many things, but understand, as human beings, we will not commercially fly at over 44,000 feet again.
I guess that could be a cost issue as well, because it takes incredible. I mean, they talk about like how much it costs to fuel the plane and get that to do the flight that does this. You're going to need a lot more of that. It's going to go a lot stronger. So obviously, like rocket fuel is ridiculously expensive to get it up there. So in case of doing that over and over again, then you can just get the planes we've got to do the same journey at a lower altitude. People just are going to think that's a waste. I mean, like I said, it takes someone like Richard Branson and all that, Musk guys who invest a ridiculous amount of money just to show that they can. In this case, they'll do it a few times.
Well, just so it doesn't matter how much money you've got, you're not going into space if the government don't want you to. He was going with Virgin Galactic. He was going. We could all publicly see. Then got to a certain point, and they went, no. They did the same thing to Admiral Byrd on his third expedition to the Antarctica. The Marines came in, the military came in, they went, it's all right, Mr. Byrd, we'll take over from here, thank you very much. Nothing to see here, off you go, off you go. And that's what they do. The military will step in if there's too much disclosure going on. They'll go, no, it's all right, nothing to see here, off you go, here's some money, go and be quiet. Go and be quiet.
Again, with Antarctica, in case that is land which nobody has claimed yet. So there's resources there that nobody's claimed yet. And that's why military
you've got
prisons...
genocide, child trafficking, wars going on, monetary issues going on, and these guys don't want to put a Hilton down there, monetize it, make money out of it. They've been using reconnaissance vehicles, yeah, and aircraft down there for years, and we're not seeing people. We don't even get a Richard Attenborough. If we do, we're seeing penguins. We're seeing some king penguins, and that is it.
But I think it's normally the case with the president. So like we know now in World War II, Sweden is one of the countries in the sort of northern Europe like had working radar that could detect stuff like German U-boats. So they couldn't tell people that because then everyone would know where they're watching and who they're spying on.
Yeah.
So actually they could have saved lots of lives, but they couldn't. So sometimes it is a case of these places make seemingly immoral decisions just for the protection of information. So like you said, if they've got reconnaissance there, they might even be bluffing, maybe because they have nothing, but they want other people to think that they have something, which is why they keep it hush. So,
yeah, I do agree that they do throw off people with things like that.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of cousins that are military pilots. They fly in the RAF, so I'm well aware of the tactics that are used to throw people off the scent. But at the same time, like I said, we're in 2018. I shouldn't actually be able to have this conversation with you. I shouldn't physically be able to do it. I shouldn't be able to have this conversation. I shouldn't be able to look into this subject and 3 years in say I've got no more proof now than I had 3 years ago that I live on a ball. And not only that, it's not just me, it's not just that guy there, and it's not, there's hundreds of thousands of people.
I'm a little bit concerned that it may be the case that there is proof, because I mean, when I brought up stuff like video footage videos, like say the Mars rover one, it's edited, it's tampered with, or it's a lie. So
yeah, but I'm not going to accept Mars rover footage to say I live on a ball. The only reason that's what worries me is that we end up going off on all of these paths and someone says something like that and goes, yeah, but we've got that. Oh, well, then that's all right then. I live on Earth. I'll get my coat. I'll get my coat. Here's me thinking we don't live on a ball and they've got a Mars rover, so we live on a ball. So
okay, we can bring it back to the ball though. So obviously we have the formula for gravitational force that shows its radius. So it starts going out in the ball, and that's what I mean when we've got things that we suddenly find out about gravity. So that's anything with mass. Even something like the tiniest particle that has mass, something like an electron, that has its own gravitational force, and it goes out radius.
And explaining that in layman's terms without using something that can't be proved, because but the word gravity has to get put in the sentence so much. I'm like, well, no, we're using gravity again. We're using something that can't be tangibly proved.
So we've got for example, two neutrons. So they don't have an electromagnetic force between them, but yet they pull each other in. There is a force one is pulling on the other.
Yeah, that's magnetism that you're explaining to me there.
That is not magnetism.
No, it is actually. In the layman's terms that you're describing it in, that's pulling and pushing. If you put magnets together one way, they'll pull together. If you put magnets together another way, but this is like I'm saying with gravity. Gravity's been put into place to overcomplicate density and buoyancy, and what you're trying to explain to me has been put into place to overcomplicate magnetism, so that people can be manipulated into their reality being warped.
Magnetic force, that is electromagnetic. And as I said, they're not charged. They don't have an electromagnetic effect. So when it comes to electromagnetism, the electricity is the movement of charge, and then magnetism is the force created by moving charges. So if a charge sits still, it's got the electrostatic force being first. If charges are moving, that's when we get...
Yeah, but now I'm hearing charges, electrical, static, magnetism, but nothing to do with gravity.
Yeah, that's the thing. When we get a scenario where we've taken all those things away, there is no charges, there is no moving
And like
charges.
I said, with magnetism and all these other things, we can explain how we can circumnavigate around a flat plane via magnetism, being pulled into magnetic north. Yeah, if you always go west, you are going to end up going around like that. Being constantly pulled north. I can navigate from Australia, even following the stars, because they haven't changed in thousands of years, right? The stars. If space is expanding and we're spinning through space and we're going around the sun and the sun's going da-da-da, why is Polaris and all of the stars still where they've been for thousands of years? If we've gone into space and it's expanding, we should be looking at different stars.
It's like if two people walk side by side down the street.
Yeah, but when you look at the graphic models of how the solar system moves, right, and you see the sun going like that and we're going like that and everything's going around it, you visualize from the ant's perspective the stars, okay? Now, see Polaris being above our heads. In order for that to work for thousands of years, we would have to be going up and down as a planet. And if we were, we would feel that stop and start.
Oh, no,
No, we would. We would. Not that we aren't. No. Do you feel the spin? I don't feel the spin.
I can't read it right. I don't even know what the spin's about. What's it about?
Just questioning our reality, questioning what we've been taught. I'm not entirely sure that we live on a ball. I'm just talking to this gentleman. He's into physics, so we're having like a bit of a healthy...
I want to be quite honest with you. I don't believe in evolution. I don't believe in aliens. I don't believe in another life. I believe God made this world.
High five.
I really
High
do.
five. I believe that we were designed and created as well.
Let me explain something to you. Give a rock and leave it there for millions of years. What you want to eat, you're going to get a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah? But you underneath water, you're going to communicate. You're not going to learn how to breathe.
I drown pretty quickly.
Yeah? Get a fish, take it out, it's going to die.
Yeah. I'm literally just saying that instead of using gravity, density and buoyancy kind of explains that. You know, when you put an apple in water, it doesn't sink, it's not as dense as the water, you know what I mean? So,
as opposed to 3 billion years.
I want to give you one quick thing about it. I do believe this thing, right?
I'm just filming me, I'm not filming anyone else, yeah? No worries.
It was always the theory of evolution. Where's the fact?
The theory of gravity as well.
Yeah, the theory. There's always the theory. It's the fact of the Bible. The fact is in the Bible. The proof is with the Bible, in stone, casted in stone, chiseled in stone. There's nothing chiseled for the theory of evolution. Evolution is a thing made up to make people against God believe in evolution but don't believe in God. Yeah?
My daughter's got the same issue at school. She gets taught science and religious studies.
About how science pulls someone away from God. Again, it's not true for me, but I do have a friend who is a religious person. He believes the science is real, but then it was God that
Can't
made
believe in
it
evolution and believe in God, because evolution goes against God.
My daughter has the same quandary. She's 16.
Evolution.
She has the same quandary.
Well,
one can argue it's because God made it so that
well, how about though?
That's what my friend does.
Well, listen. They say we've got the same thing around.
Although that is quite positive. That is quite positive to hear that someone can appreciate science but still be a believer in a creator, you know? That's
it is,
a
but on the
positive
same
thing.
hand, there's only one maker, right? Now, he made the world.
The Most High.
Right?
Yep.
So therefore, if evolution was correct, is right, it means the Bible's totally wrong. Because the Bible can't be 10% wrong or 1% wrong. It's got to be 100% right. 1%, that means God told us a lie, and everything he told us is not a lie. So therefore, I don't believe in evolution one bit.
Nice one. Thank you so much.
I really,
Thank
really
you.
don't. Also,
Thank you so much.
Think about it, yeah?
Darling.
Think about this.
I'm going to go to the bathroom quickly. I have to go. Thank you. Okay, so I've left that guy talking with that other guy, man. I needed a break. Jason, I'm just going to go and find a bathroom somewhere. Okay? Did we pass somewhere? I needed to get away from that guy. He's a troll. The guy's a certified troll.
Oh yeah, he's kind of holding on to you.
He's a physics.
Oh right. Yeah.
I wanted to headbutt him.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know everyone's hearing me, but I did. I wanted to nut that guy. He kept on going back to gravity, 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 molecule, molecule, water, molecule, molecule, molecule. When the water's a molecule, it's round. And it's Mars rover. I said, I'll get my coat. It's a Mars rover. We live on a ball, guys.
I think I'm having a different day today. I think it's going to be more of
hardcore.
Look, if I can see land, that I should be able to see. Then piss off. Yeah.
And you know what? I just want to say, massive love to Patricia Hurst. Patricia Hurst was here. I gave her cuddles. She was so supportive. I've now met the lady with the pink heart cushion.
Yeah, that's what
I feel privileged.
Yeah,
Literally, Lady Patricia was here.
And I apologise to Patricia Hurst. I kind of pulled a steer for a second. Sorry.
From one Patricia to the next. Right, I'm off to go and find the ladies. Right, I'm on a mission to go and find the bathroom now. So I need to use the ladies. I've been on a train from London today, and I didn't get a chance to use the ladies. As you know, I don't really know Doncaster very well. So, can you see my little flat earther badge? Whoops. Thank you, Richie Lopez. Thank you, David Gessner. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Okay, so, you can see loads of socks, but not. Oh, come on, man. Hopefully you can all still hear me. Can't hear shit all. Alright, one sec. Let's see what's good here. Is that even still on? Can you hear me? I don't even know what's on. Oh right, sorry, I thought it was me you couldn't hear because the sound. I don't even know if my headphones are still live, because the battery might have died. So I'm just on a mission. Everyone's going to the loo with me. I'm like, it's desperate times right about now. Real talk. Great, you can hear me, that's perfect. So, I'm in the lovely shopping centre of Doncaster. Britain's finest. What a lovely bunch of people that live here. Like, what do you call someone from Doncaster? A Doncasteran? A Doncaster. I'm a Doncasteran. That was silly. Sorry, guys. I've not been here before. Ever. I'm not really sure what's here. If there's like any like landmarks or special places of interest that we can hit up. But for those of you that are in England, we're going to be in Stoke-on-Trent tomorrow, and then we're going to be in Nottingham on Monday. So Stoke-on-Trent tomorrow, Nottingham on Monday, but we're going to be in Doncaster for a good few hours today. So I'd encourage you to come down. There's a big yellow M. Great, all of us are live. A Doncunian, I like that, a Doncunian. Right, now I don't really want to cut my live feed, and I don't know how to mute it. I don't think there is a mute option. Ooh, mute microphone. Lovely. Right. So, yeah, looks like you are all coming to the bathroom with me, because I'd rather keep my live stream going. I'm not eating nothing from this nasty establishment. Ew, look at everyone queuing up because of their nasty food. Nasty. So, we're in the Doncaster McDonald's now. This is the best. I just don't want to inconvenience everyone coming off of the live feed. For what? So, in a minute, I'm going to mute my microphone. going to mute my microphone. Unmute. Yeah, man. Put it in my pocket. See? Here I am. Quick fix up. I think I definitely need to charge my what do you call it? My headphones. So hands wash. And here we go. Back out. So I'm wondering if that was a first on a live feed. Going in the toilet on a live feed, that is like really classy, isn't it? No. I thought everyone's rolling with me. I just the inconvenience to come off live, then tell you guys to come back as well. And to be fair, yeah, I'd rather between Harry and Jason and mine. Obviously, you know I'm not having any interactions just now. I've just come to the bathroom, so if you lot give me a minute, I'll get back to the banners. So, hope everyone's having a good day. If anyone wants me to put in any questions out there and ask the people the questions, I'm more than happy to put those questions to people. Crap, Papa, I just missed that. It's raining. Don't know what you said before that, darling, sorry. It only comes up on my screen for a couple of seconds, and then after it's gone off the screen, I'm not quite sure. Oh no, I can scroll up. Yay! Yeah! Okay. No, I looked at one look at the tube, the train toilet, and I went, no, you're alright. No, you're alright, I'll wait until I get to Doncaster. Okay, sorry, so I'll hold the phone a little bit closer to me like this. So let me know if you lot can hear me a little bit better now. No, there isn't. I mean, there's some people though, that's all we need. We just need the people. Just need people to talk to. And do you know what, I'm surprised. I mean, what day is it today? Saturday. So no, I'm not surprised. I thought it was a weekday. Thinking for a weekday, this place is busy, but it's not. Okay, so hopefully that's a bit better. Yeah, looks like I'm going to have to charge up my headphones. They didn't last very long at all. And I've got my phone now on a power pack, charging up. But before these coffee shops shut, yeah, I want to go into the coffee shop and charge up my mobile pack so that when I get onto the camper, I'm not going to lose out on my charge. And I'll still do the update live later on tonight as well. And try and show you some of the best bits. Or we might, well, either way, we're going to go live from the camper van later on. I won't be in my house doing it. I'll be on the camper van going live. So, yeah, let's just get back over here. I wonder if that troll guy is still there. I feel bad calling him a troll. He wasn't a troll. It's just that he kept on going back to the whole gravity. And that pisses me off. Like I said, it's more time a belief system. So I don't want people to describe how they think they're right by using a belief system. But that will piss me off. 5 votes. Wonder what they're going to say. Interesting stuff. Quite a big crowd, look. Quite a lot of people. Oh. Mm. Yeah, no worries. This is Saturday evening, so all good that you're going out on a Saturday night.
Brilliant! Wow.
We had like different kinds of things, and we had him last year here 11. Practically just got
So, I don't know if you can hear me, there's quite a few people looking at the banners. I did indeed, my darling. I did a good girl. I did stickers. I don't want to use them all up though, because I forgot to give some to Patricia. Crap, I wanted to give some to Patricia, her. Oh, how beautiful.
Say hello.
Hi.
John, hello.
Wow. Hi, nice to meet you. Hi, darling.
I'm woken person, my family.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much for your support.
That's right.
That's amazing. I'm streaming live just now, so
Okay.
make sure I don't have
Yeah.
Huh? Yes, I'm a bit silly and I'm not here.
Just like
It's literally hanging on by a limb.
like Daddy's phone.
Yeah, it happens.
And that looks like an indestructible one as well.
No, it's brilliant. Getting out here, having interactions. I was just speaking to a physics lecturer, so you can imagine how fun that was. Sure. Being told about molecular level and I went, I'll get my phone. This and the other. So yeah, it's been really productive so far today. I've had like a nice varied amount of conversation. No one's been too ridiculous so far. I haven't had any screaming and lunatics. But yeah, so far so good. I've not been here before, so
No, we.
I'm quite surprised.
You live in
It's quite busy
Sheffield.
town. Quite busy. I didn't think it was going to be, for me, this is like busier than I live in London, and on a Saturday, my local town is
I'm originally from Leytonstone, London.
Ah, you're a Londoner.
Yeah, originally lived in South Africa and then.
What about you? I love it. International couple.
Yeah, I've lost it.
I was going to say, I wouldn't have noticed that you were British. I thought, I'm going to ask. Yeah, you've got a bit of a twang to your accent.
Mismatch.
No, well, again, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. I really do.
Hands off.
It makes all the difference. We're determined to get to the 3rd of November and get to London. By the time we get there, we've got 8 weeks on 50 locations. I'm hoping to start a wave of conversation. We can do it. We're not running around going, I think it's just about questions that you've been taught. Don't necessarily buy everything you want. That's why I call myself a bit of a and then I went further and I went, I'm a globalist, am I actually? I don't like what globalism stands for either. So I thought, well, so yeah, so I thought I'm coming away from saying that it's come to the bad connotation. Saying to Harry today about being my partner said, I'm not sure you're because I can call it Wes. Call it iron.
You're not strapping yourself.
And he said there might be a bit of a bad connotation coming to because you're not flat earth activist, you're globe denier, awareness. So it's like, okay, well we need, if anyone can think of something that's quick, runs off the tongue and hasn't got a good ring to it, by all means
Just
let us
asking
know.
questions and that's what trouble don't do. Don't ask questions. Go through life accept.
Oh, we do.
Well, we want to ask questions about Love Island, who's dancing to a critical dancing. We don't want to ask questions about natural reality.
I unplugged from television 25 years ago.
Oh, good on you. So sweet. So sweet. I mean, I let them play computer games, but as far as, mainstream television goes, try Virgin, Free. I think it's probably one of the most toxic drugs out there, and people unknowingly You've got, you know, seasons on it. You know, that's one of the biggest. Beyond cigarettes, beyond alcohol, beyond recreational drugs, television, what?
Pushed into everyone's homes, like even in South Africa, like people are still living in shacks, still got like terrible living conditions. Like you say, DST, satellite television,
When they put it out on a production,
sorry guys.
right, what we'll do is we'll get it in every home by 1969.
I'll definitely take a pamphlet. I've got one of them.
Yeah, exactly how it went.
One of them books, you can't have that one.
Very interesting. I'm really loving.
Because I've been given them ones as well.
I also need like stickers because like I don't actually say like when I smoke, so when I do my job and I go around I have to go smoking
And that's the bit that
like
resonates
places
with me.
can't smoke in the office, have like smoking showers.
Yes.
And normally it's like full of mold and things like that. When I do like the outside.
That's right. Because you see the bands that you
taking a ball
bands.
from a golf.
So I don't constantly like do my
I'll
own.
break you, and you're like,
How long have you been kind of like? See, I don't really like that. I won't, but you know, like, but
no, wait, you have a break.
Yeah, wait for this
Well, I know
for
you know
2 years.
Wait, right, stay right there. Stay right there.
That's when we lived in Africa.
That was a
Didn't
lot.
have,
What else was there?
internet was quite expensive. I didn't hear about it, but I just thought it was a lot of
Family,
fundamental Christian
they've been so
matters.
understanding.
So I just kind of like kept pushing it aside, and then when I got here, I had time.
My daughter's
Got broadband internet. Start doing a bit more research.
yeah, and that's the brilliant part of it. You're doing your research, but there's a lot of people are so close-minded they won't even entertain any research.
Well, I'm going to be staying in the
As I said, I was
camera.
taking my daughter to school when I was terrified. So every day I was taking my daughter to school with that on the post, like, so I could see land on the
feel like
coast.
it's still done. I feel like
Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good meeting you.
love it. That's so
Oh, you live what?
Oh yeah.
in my mind, I feel like if I make
Oh, you've seen that?
I'm involved in anything.
Massive.
One person.
I left it up there because people need to see how the kids behave as well when they become mum and and that, and it just becomes one big laughing joke.
I don't mind waiting. I don't mind waiting 50 people.
What one's going to do? They're not going to go against the crowd. I won't wait for other kids.
That's right.
And the thing is, the season there is party and then they walk away. They make jokes.
But even having.
So I run out of battery after about an hour of that, and but it kind of got worse and worse and worse, and these teachers would leave it alone, and just coming back, and it just become one big screaming.
They are going to go home now and have the conversation.
around slowly.
As you
I
can
think
see,
the education
the internet is one thing that's getting closer.
try to give them answers to all these questions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that's going on. Well, I just spoke to
Thinking about it, one time
a couple I just been yesterday, and she says that her science knows that the Apollo land is fake. She's teaching them that it's fake. You know, like, and what's it saying?
So,
That a lot of
so far so good. I think Harry's still streaming. I'm streaming.
You can't have pressure about a container.
You know what? I never bring any up to that.
Don't worry.
I never bring up the pressure, and I need to kind of
Yeah.
The lady wasn't scanning it. I think the camera was off.
Oh, but you know, it's good practice. You saw a camera and you went up. Formate, come on. I love it. You had the protocol set already. I love it. Brilliant. You guys have come out today. You've come out to Lincoln. It's so encouraging to see people.
And the greatest vacuum in the world, I mean, it's greater than any vacuum that we can possibly create down here.
And I also want to thank all of you for tuning in so far.
Kind of like,
We're going to be in Doncaster for a
like having something like
What time are we at just now? 3 o'clock.
all the area,
I
I
can
can drop
see.
one teardrop woodside.
Harry is in the background talking to that physical guy that was talking to me. So now he's going to just go at Harry and see how far he can get with Harry. I'm sure we are going to have that conversation. I was entertaining what he was saying, but I wasn't agreeing. So we're going to be here for a little while longer. I think what I'm going to do is my phone is
Harry Potter magic. Harry Potter. Yeah.
Tinkerbell magic.
charging.
So you guys are from here?
And I've got it on
That's
charge.
Sheffield.
Yeah.
So if you guys give me
Yes.
3 o'clock. Give me till 3:30, and I'll go live again, and then I can just get my phone in my bag and charge it. Alright, so massive love to you all for tuning in. We'll be back at about 3:30, 4:45 for more Blow Blow.
No, yeah, we all videos and that. Yeah. The live stream is really new to